What's going on, y'all? So on today's portrait, we have a community activist, an artist, and a psychologist. Chanel, hang out. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Tell the people who you are, where you from.
Well, I'm Chanel. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm just a girl from Brooklyn that decided to go for her dreams.
So just a girl, right? But you're a lot more than that, right? So you do psychology.
Mm-hmm.
You are a community activist.
Mm-hmm.
You're an artist.
Yes.
You still host? I know you were on a
Lady B show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done that since the pandemic started.
Got you. So how did you get into psychology?
That's a long story. That's back to the Sunday school days.
Yeah.
So I remember I was always intuitive, and I remember going to Sunday school, and remember we learned about Jesus, hell, heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come home from church on Sunday. I'm home. My mother used to cook fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, collard greens is cooking. So I'm sitting in front of the TV in the living room, and do you know how they had the UNICEF commercials back in the days?
I remember that. Yeah.
And I remember being a kid because I'm 5, 6 years old. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, to me, this is hell. As a kid, looking at these kids, I'm home. I'm about to eat fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, and these kids are literally starving. You can see their ribs. So to me, that was hell. So now, as a kid, I'm thinking about what I just learned in Sunday school, and this don't make sense.
Yeah.
And then from what we learned, you have to be a sinner. These are babies. How could this baby be a sinner? So from there, the wheels just started churning, and they just never stopped, and it led me to psychology.
That's crazy. So, got you. I remember watching those. Just for y'all that don't know, we in the hood. So, you know how you can identify when you're in the hood? Right? But it's cool, don't worry about it. Right? So, but it's because I remember watching those infomercials being up late at night, and they used to have the little boy, his stomach was swollen, you could see his ribs,
yes.
and one fly.
Yes, and they would eat porridge, the way, the. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, seeing that and I guess figuring out that, there are places on earth that are like that. Well, so how did that propel you into the thoughts? Because I understand where the whole,
it's
Jesus
just kind of
like
if I'm taking this as face value. You're a sinner, you go to heaven. You go to hell. If you do good, you go to heaven. So, so now I'm a kid, and I'm coming home, and I'm witnessing somebody that I believe is in a version of hell.
Got you.
And this is a kid. So if this is a baby, how much sinning could it have done to get to be in that hell?
Got you.
So all the questions of why, how, what's going on, and if God is God, what's going on? So it's all the questions of why, when, how started from there.
Got you. Yeah, that's yeah. And so you started figuring out what makes sense and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. So when you at some point you had to start doing some kind of self-evaluation based on your relationship with the things that you're seeing, right? So I remember it wasn't the same. I didn't have the same experience, but I remember having a similar one. We were I had to be maybe 7 years old, and my mother took me to a park. And I'm playing and shit. And I remember seeing this lady, dopehead, and she had sores on her face, and her clothes was wild. And I looked at her, and I was like, "Yo, Mom, what's wrong with her? Why did it, And she was like, "Well, she needs help." I said, "Well, why doesn't somebody help her?" Right? And she was like, "Well, she has to help herself first." I couldn't understand that. I'm like, yo, if she could help herself, she wouldn't need anybody else's help. which is wild when you say that shit in adulthood.
But the
right?
kids, we tend to make more sense than a lot of the stuff we're told.
Yeah.
Because when you saw something that was right, because if she could help herself, she would help herself. She couldn't.
Yeah. So it's not always, you know, all the time you had that conversation. Yo, you can help yourself. You should be able, like, nah. If you could, you would. Right? It's a mindset.
And just like we was talking about that, stay up late at night. I'm a night owl. I'm a vampire. So if you up at night, believe me, there's still those same commercials on. They still running 20, 30 years later. So what happened? What happened? Brooklyn, if you're from Brooklyn and you've been around for 20 plus years, Brooklyn is now about to be the new Manhattan. There's skyscrapers everywhere. So we got money. We got money. But if you walk by that same skyscraper, you're going to see a homeless man standing right there. Why?
You know, you can come up with a million reasons to validate or justify why somebody's sleeping on the concrete in front of a building. And it's wild to see homeless people panhandling right in front of a restaurant, and they sitting out, ha 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 ha, clinking glasses, and he's shaking a cup. It could be poor decisions. It could be greed. It could be, it depends on the side of the lens you want to look through. Mm-hmm. You can find a reason that it is. But it's just, it's just life. It's about, I figured out, right? I don't know how, I'm just going to tell you what works for me. Is addressing or changing the things that I can. Mm-hmm. Right? The shit that I can't. So I'm not going to punish myself by trying to do something that I can't. Mm-hmm. Right? So if I can help, if I can make a move, cool. Right? If not, I can't. And I just, I look the other way, for lack of, that's it. I just, I kind of check out. But I have a newer outlook on life since I've been going to therapy. Mm-hmm. I created Mindsets, and in these spaces it allows for consistent reinterpretation of things, mm-hmm. reevaluation of things, mm-hmm. like consistent. Mm-hmm. So what I used to think this stood for, it's like, nah, that's at the time, where my mind was at the time, based on the environment I was in, based on the people that were surrounding me. That's why that was the idea that I had. Mm-hmm. Once you shift one of those variables, everything changes. Mm-hmm. So with me, it's about putting myself in the best situation around the best people possible, mm-hmm. and then allowing thoughts to come from that space. Mm-hmm. Right, so, but as an artist, you I guess you write with whatever motivates you. Like, what motivates you as an artist?
Well, that's community service has been a great, it has always been near and dear to my heart, and mm-hmm. I have had the pleasure of being a part of the Echo exhibit. Yeah. Right, and the Echo exhibit is part of the River to River 2020 Four Voices, which was created to help heal and celebrate New Yorkers through the power of art. Okay. So I've always been able to be connected to different organizations, school, different programs that I was able to see that art is something that I can use as self-expression. Yeah. So that's how art has been able to help me get through and navigate the craziness of the world.
So what type of mediums do you express your art through?
I draw, I paint. I got into a little bit of like the clay and stuff like that. Okay. I model for you. Mm-hmm. Young pimpin'. So I just kind of like, I go to a lot of museums. Mm-hmm. And if you go to the museums and you really look at it, like, you can be an artist if you call yourself an artist. Literally, you can write a statement, write a sentence on a canvas, and if somebody believes that's art, you're an artist. And the first person that should believe you're an artist is you. So I believe I'm an artist. I believe I'm an artist with my makeup, with my nails, the way I put my outfit on. Like, all of that is self-expression. I'm expressing something with myself and how I want to look and how I want to represent myself. That was my first medium as far as myself. And then it expanded into the canvas and into the camera.
So I used art for therapeutic purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I was doing music, and it allowed me to just spew everything that was on my mind, on my heart. You know, I was going through. It allowed me to just vent, and it's an amazing thing. You know, and I'm grateful that I found it. And you know, I encourage people, if you need to express yourself, music is a really dope way. Whether you're writing, composing, you know, it's a million ways to do it. Just do something to you know, to help yourself get that off your chest. Community activism.
Yes.
How did you get into that, and like what lane in that are you traveling?
I've done a few different things. Like I said earlier, community service has always been near and dear to my heart. And then I got the opportunity to work with Family Support and Resources that is located in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. And I was working with them from 2014 to 2020, helping to plan and organize their Peace Fest. The Peace Fest is a day of fun that we go and give back to the community, and we promote peace. So that was the first thing, and then it kind of led to a lot of different things. Because of my work in Fort Greene, I was recognized by the Brooklyn Borough President and now Mayor Eric Adams.
Dope.
I'm also a community hero, and I was featured part of Community Heroes, which is a public art project that celebrates everyday heroes from neighborhood to neighborhood. So you can find me under Fort Greene. And what else have I done?
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
Like I told you guys about the Echo exhibit. I did that in 2020, and that was a project where I was able to collaborate with a poet. We was able to have a one-on-one conversation similar to this, but it was over the phone. And from that conversation, a poem was created, and then it was put up all over South Street Seaport last summer. 2020.
Got you. So, how did the pandemic affect your life?
Oh, okay. So the pandemic was hard. It was, I think, I would say for the last 2 years was kind of like the hardest time of my life.
Yeah.
But I would say it was very impactful as far as me finding myself. Because obviously we're in a pandemic. We can't talk like we're talking right now. So I spent a lot of time alone. And I had no choice. So, because I don't have any kids, I live alone. So it was like, you're literally in solitary confinement. Wow. 7 days a week. You get to go out for that hour to go to the grocery store and get your food and stuff like that. But then you have to come back and you have to be alone with your thoughts and everything that's just there. So I just found myself falling in love with me, because sometimes I'm in a house and I'm making jokes and I'm like, yo, you was funny, girl. Hey, yo, you was hilarious for real. Or, I got more into my yoga. I started doing yoga. I created a series, Chanel Loves NYC, in which, I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Instagram. And I would just literally go around and take everybody with me to my favorite places in New York. And the reason why I did that was because I love New York so much, and I saw like the pandemic, it was like business after business after business just crumbling. Yeah. And it was like, oh my God, what can I do to give back? So it was like, I would go to a local business, I would spend my own money, I would record, basically give them like a commercial, and I would do it all while I'm socially distanced, because I'm doing it by myself and my camera. And I will promote and give love to that business, as well as just loving my city and telling people you still can enjoy life even though we're in this pandemic and we're going through this.
Yeah. So I did see it. I remember you went to the Sip and Paint joint. It's a couple of them that I saw. I didn't know it was a series. I didn't put it in, context. But that's dope.
Yeah, it didn't start out that way. It just, now I got I think 30 something episodes on here now.
Cool. So is there an end goal for it?
There's gonna be a season 2. There's gonna be a season 2. It's a lot of things. Like a production company came out of it. Last year, I already started my own production company. I started my own podcast. So it's a lot of little things that spending time just by me and focusing on me made me just kind of like pour into myself and my art and everything else.
That's dope. That's dope. How has dating been in the pandemic?
Dating, I guess it's a struggle. I don't know. It's kind of the same for me.
Okay.
It's kind of the same. It's the same.
Okay.
Like, it didn't really, like, I can't really socialize as much, so I can't go out, but I really didn't meet people that way anyway. So a lot of the people that I'm dating, I kind of had a connection to before the pandemic. So it's just kind of like, it's the same thing.
I got you. You read a lot?
Mm-hmm.
What's 3 books that impacted your life?
Awakened Imagination by Neville Goddard.
Okay.
I Know My Father by Neville Goddard. And another one. Feeling Is a Secret by Neville Goddard. Because obviously he's my favorite.
Yeah. I never heard of this guy. Okay.
He's, I guess people would call him like a metaphysical teacher.
Gotcha.
He died in 1972.
Okay.
And I love him. He's from Barbados, and he speaks about God and religion, but he speaks about it in a way that I've never heard about it before. So that's why he's my favorite.
Okay. I'm gonna look into that. Neville Goddard. All right. So listen. So for the people who want to find out or learn more about you, where can they find you at?
You guys find me at A Little Bit of Chanel, one word, on Instagram, and DM me, and you can get in contact with me.
Thank you for hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem.
Thank you for listening, guys.
And thank you guys for hanging out. Yo, I want to thank Chanel for hanging out with us and giving us, her unique insight on life, sharing some stories, and her activism. Make sure that y'all check us out on the next episode. I don't know if it's next year, next month, next week. Just make sure you're at the next one. Peace.